Good evening, viewers. We have Shekhar Iyer ji back with us with all the latest news. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Meenaji and Jayadevji.
Yes, Jaydev also joins us in this session. Shekhar ji, there are a lot of new developments in different parts of the country, and we'll start with the Kerala government, which is on the brink of financial collapse. They don't have any money to pay salary on one side, and the government is lavishly spending on advertisements. They celebrate the Kerala Formation Day on one side and also rampant corruption on the other. The famous gold scam, which leads directly to the CM's door, is not really pursued by either CBI or NIA. The Lablin case, which is in the SC and for which P. Vijayan is likely to get convicted, is also purposely delayed by CBI by asking Supreme Court to postpone by giving some reason or the other. Last week, the Supreme Court had to adjourn it because CBI was not present. I think it was the 31st time adjournment had happened. What sort of game are these people playing, Shekharji?
Well, on the face of it, it will appear that for whatever reasons, this case is being delayed. Actually, for our viewers, Pinarayi was exonerated by the Kerala High Court. The CBI, which came on appeal to the Supreme Court, asking his acquittal to be set aside.
Yes,
Since then, as you mentioned, the case has come before the last 6 years, at least 30 times. The
yes,
last one was the 31st time.
yeah,
And this time, the Supreme Court simply just adjourned the case without assigning any date. And because the CBI counsel was not present, the senior counsel was not. Well, I think it all looks like as if there won't be much movement in this case until the Lok Sabha elections.
mhm,
Now, politically speaking, we are hazarding a guess that the central BJP leadership would rather want Pinarayi Vijayan not to be affected till the Lok Sabha elections,
yes,
so that Congress does not gain in
yeah,
Kerala.
absolutely.
And secondly, because it's important that the fight between the Congress and the Marxists
Yes,
is is uh, is allowed to take a full intensive turn,
yes,
so that the so-called opposition unity, which has already suffered,
mhm,
the so-called India alliance and all that moves that have happened. So the latest has been fired by Akhilesh Yadav today,
yes,
where he has openly questioned the Rahul's newfound love for this OBC reservation and caste-based census,
yeah,
saying, "Where were you all these years?
mm,
Where was the Congress?
yes,
You have ruled for a large part. You didn't allow a caste census to take place."
yes,
And we know for a fact both Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi did not want the Congress to get into this OBC politics.
mm,
And the decline of the Congress happened post Mandal,
yes,
if you look at the events.
mm,
And Congress gained in the pre-Mandal period because it had the support of, for instance, in UP and Bihar. It was
yes,
generally considered that Congress had the support of the Brahmins
yeah,
and some upper caste Muslims and the Dalits. So the intermediary castes were drawn into the Congress fold or to the smaller parties. But
yes,
Congress gained.
mm,
But that whole thing, completely collapsed. That
mm,
arithmetic, both in Bihar as well as in Uttar Pradesh.
yes,
Now Rahul Gandhi is looking for that magic formula
mm,
which can revive the Congress. So he has completely, hitched on to this OBC thing, and
mm,
he has been attacking. Now, coming to the Kerala thing, what I feel is, one can only say that why there is such a go slow.
yeah,
Uh, but I don't think this is the final shape of things.
yes,
Because ultimately, I think in the post 2024 scenario, where if the Congress fails to, snatch power from Pinarayi,
yes,
if the CPM wins again in Kerala, that will mark a complete a panic in the Congress.
yes,
A lot of Congress could then look for some other platform
yeah,
which we see as a stronger to oppose Marxists.
yes,
Because so far you have had two alliances, two led alliances,
mm,
and the demography of Kerala has always favored this kind of alliances.
yeah,
With 45% Hindus and Muslims and Christians constituting almost 55%. So
yes,
these alliances have had combinations which ensures that this demography is taken care of. But
Yes.
this all could, change post 2024. Till
Yeah.
2024, I do not see a change. And
Yeah.
Pinarayi Vijayan has been telling Sitaram Yechuri to stop attending all these opposition outings because it doesn't serve the CPM purpose in Kerala. Because
Yes.
in CPM has to fight tooth and nail the
Yes.
Congress-led alliance, and they have to win maximum number of the 20 seats from Kerala, Lok Sabha
Mm.
seats. So they are not giving any scope for the so-called opposition alliance business. That is the reason why the opposition alliance drama, which was going on, the
Yes.
circus, has
Mm.
come to a still.
Yes.
And and also there was another problem that Marxists in Bengal told Yechuri not to attend also, because they said, look, you can't be shaking hands with Mamta in Delhi or
Mm.
wherever all these meeting of the leaders are held, because
Mm.
here we will have to fight Mamata,
Yes.
and Mamata is not is out to completely squeeze us.
Yes.
So if this is the scenario, if you are seeing some legal cases not moving forward or getting stalled,
Mm.
they may have reasons beyond what we see as legal within the legal framework. They may
Yes.
have undercurrents of political maneuvers that is going on, and the idea is, the friends. I mean, enemy's enemy is my friend.
Yes.
Till that friend, I declare the friend also as my enemy.
Also, Shekharji, see what is happening. They know that the kind of work that Modi ji is doing and the way India has been transformed. Yet, why is BJP not becoming strong in Kerala?
So, Meenaji, as I mentioned, the demography is such. What is the demographic factor? Of course, the BJP has been trying to outreach to, the Christian clergy,
Yes.
and even from those groups also, many
Yeah.
church leaders have met Prime Minister Modi, and they have also said, look, we support the an alternative model in Kerala. I
Yes.
mean, this political model that we have seen
Yeah.
has resulted in corruption, and definitely corruption in the last the last 5 years in Kerala particularly.
Yes.
I mean, after Pinarayi got a second term, and
Yes.
even the Marxist leaders are worried.
Yeah.
Even the Marxist leaders, tell me that they are very worried about the image of their party in Kerala.
Yeah.
That what it was once and what it is today.
Yeah.
There are huge deals taking place, either in Dubai or in Singapore, and people, the frequency of flights between Cochin and Trivandrum to
Yeah.
Singapore or Dubai
Yeah.
have increased to facilitate
Oh, absolutely. Oh.
visits by these
Mm.
leaders,
Yeah.
and a lot of these. I mean, there is big money involved now in politics of Kerala.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a
Yeah.
time when Kerala politics was always showcased as a model.
Yes.
Today, whether it is Marxist or whether it is UDF alliance or even other smaller parties in the alliance,
Yes.
they're all looking at bigger killings and big commercial transactions. And
Yeah.
I cannot see how in campaign in politics, I mean, campaign in Kerala
Mm.
is more or less still on the traditional basis.
Yes.
But nevertheless, there is one can see a huge financial as dimension coming into the electioneering and for the political campaigns in Kerala.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Jay, you.
Yeah, Shekharji, do you think Shashi Tharoor might join BJP?
Well, it all depends whether he gets a ticket from the Congress or not. And his seat is the Thiruvananthapuram seat.
Yes.
Now, Thiruvananthapuram and CPM may be nominating Professor KV Thomas, who is already with them, with the Marxists,
Yes.
because he shifted out realizing that the family, the 10 Janpath dumped him, though he had done so much for the family and so
Yes.
much for the party. Now
Yes.
he is a very important member of the Marxist party.
Mm.
They have given him some responsibilities also. And for the Shashi Tharoor's case, see, the way I see it is, he has definitely understood that the family is terribly unhappy with him from the time he contested against Mallikarjun Kharge.
Yes.
For all the talk of inner party democracy, they did not want him to contest. They sent enough signals, they gave hint, they even hinted to him through several other leaders. But Shashi Tharoor thought that the party is serious about inner party democracy and contested against him, against Kharge. The
Yeah.
fact that Kharge was not elected unopposed,
Mm.
and that he disregarded the family's desires, despite being what was conveyed to him, that does mean he has fallen from their
Yeah.
good books.
Mm.
But at the same time, one can see, like for instance, when in Sri Lanka recently, Prime Minister sent him to attend the 200 years of this plantation Tamil's arrival in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So Shashi Tharoor was sent by the government of India to address
Oh,
the
oh.
function.
Mm.
This is,
Surprising.
reminiscent
Yeah.
of Narasimha Rao nominating Vajpayee to attend UN General
Yes.
Assembly.
Yes.
So that's a very interesting thing that has happened.
Yeah. Very
And
interesting. Yes.
Shashi Tharoor also now and then, sometimes he tweets.
Mm.
There are certain things he finds himself um, not being able to resist
Mm.
praising some of the initiatives of the Prime
Yes.
Minister.
Yes.
So, well, I think he's also keeping his cards very close to
Yeah.
his chest. In case he's denied ticket,
Yes.
in case he's denied ticket, I think the possibilities are that he whether I do not know whether he will be keen to join the BJP, because there is always that fear of, that if you join the BJP you may lose the votes of the minorities. So
Yes.
that fear may be there, but at the same time, actually, Meenaji, what I'm looking at is I'm
Yeah.
waiting for this December 3rd,
Yes.
when the assembly results of of these states,
Mm.
Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and
Yes.
Telangana.
Mm.
From whatever latest reports are coming to me from the ground,
Mm.
Rajasthan looks like easy, very easy for BJP. In fact, BJP is picking up strength in Rajasthan,
Yeah.
and it looks very, very difficult to Congress to again come back to power in Rajasthan.
Yeah.
In Madhya Pradesh, where BJP was seen on a very, very difficult turf, I am
Yes.
told that they have made lot of improvements. There has been a surge in some pockets,
Yes.
and of course, there are still difficulties in areas like Malwa, in and
Yes.
around Gwalior, and these are areas where there are problems. But the situation in a couple of months has changed.
Okay.
It is not that it was earlier said that Congress would have a easy win in Madhya Pradesh. That
Yes.
is not the scenario. Now in
No.
Chhattisgarh, where Congress is supposed to have established early and goodly,
Mm.
even there, after the disclosures that have come involving the Mahadev app
Yes.
and the payments, the talk of huge payoffs done to people close to the Congress Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel. He
Yes.
has been on a defensive. You can see how he has been responding to the media queries, and he seems to be, with his back to the wall,
Yes.
because the ED has made an official statement that at least 508 crore was paid as sleaze
Yes.
money to people close to. So
Yes.
one can see in Chhattisgarh, the Congress, which was riding very high, is now appears to be coming down. I
Yeah.
cannot predict at this stage whether BJP can actually overturn Congress in Chhattisgarh, but
Yes.
definitely in Madhya Pradesh, the fight is getting lot. I would say, lot tougher for the Congress.
Mm.
Earlier it was easier, and BJP is putting up a good fight in Madhya Pradesh. Now, why
Okay.
I am saying these results are important is these results, once we see, and in Telangana particularly,
Yes.
I'm told that KCR is, of course, there are areas where KCR's candidates are having a tough time from the Congress candidates, but there is the problem of infighting in the Congress also, because it has rather become Reddy versus backward fight. Many
Yes.
backward class leaders on denial of ticket have joined BRS. So the situation is quite yeah, but at the same time, I'm told KCR will somehow come back to power.
Yes.
Now, look at the scenario. BJP wins in Rajasthan, BJP wins in Madhya Pradesh. Congress, let's say, comes back to Chhattisgarh, but Bhupesh Baghel is trapped by the Mahadev app
Yeah.
scam. Now, Telangana, KCR is back. So
Yes.
that will create a churning in the opposition alliance, will create a
Yes.
churning in the Congress
Yeah.
as to what is going to happen in 2024. See,
Yeah.
sometime around December, January, beginning of this year, beginning of next year,
Mm.
2024, you are going to see a lot of Congress leaders. There will be murmurs will grow in the Congress. Some individual leaders will start looking for, not just greener pasture, but looking for some you know, saving grace by at least shifting
Yes.
out.
Mm.
So all these things can happen in the post
Yeah.
poll scenario, post December. That's the
Yeah.
time when I'm going to look at, who are the leaders who are likely to say goodbye to the family and
Yeah.
move over to the BJP side. And saying that we want to strengthen country's development under Prime Minister Modi.
Yeah. Yes. And what's happening in with Annamalai? Annamalai has declared that the EVR statues will be removed from the Sri Rangam temple vicinity and other places. Will it have any effect on Tamil Nadu Hindus who are basically very religious, but these 4 decades of DMK rule has made them rather sleepy and lethargic, especially towards their own religion? Will they gather courage and feel safe and think that they have a leader who will protect them and start asserting their Hindu ideology?
Meenaji, Annamalai's Padayatra has been going on very well.
Yes,
The responses has even surprised Annamalai himself.
yes,
See, what started out from Rameshwaram by way of projecting the achievements of the Modi government and to explain to the people what exactly is the BJP.
yeah,
What does BJP stand for? What is
mm,
this, nation first?
yes,
And and this whole Padayatra was started because Prime Minister Modi wanted Annamalai
yes,
that in a state like Tamil Nadu, which had made tremendous contribution to the independence struggle, why is that we have the separatist tendencies are encouraged in Tamil Nadu? Why is this Tamil nationalism is encouraged in Tamil Nadu? This has been there for a long time,
yes,
and with all these so-called, the Dravidian versus Aryan, then the talk of Tamil nationalism, and then this war cry against Sanatan Dharma.
yes,
These all fits with, and
yeah,
whenever they are in trouble, DMK,
mm,
they are known to fall back upon this anti-Sanatan Dharma. Then they rake up saying this is against anti-Brahminism. Now, Brahmins are nowhere in Tamil Nadu for that
yeah,
matter. I mean, they are not in politics, they are not dominating anything.
yeah,
So people are beginning to see that the so-called Brahmin thing is more of a scarecrow. A
yes,
scarecrow that doesn't work anymore. You see, so you need that thing alive in their lives.
yeah,
Today, the biggest problem in Tamil Nadu is corruption.
yes,
The corruption has eaten into the vitals of Tamil Nadu.
yeah,
And people know very well how the entire, since the return of DMK, what they are seeing is worse than what they saw during the ADMK rule.
yes,
And that has resulted in a scenario where when Annamalai talks about corruption, he gets tremendous traction.
yeah,
People, in small towns and villages, they want to listen to him.
mm,
And he chronicles one scam after another. A lot of data, a lot of information.
well
And people are
researched.
convinced, whether
Yeah,
it is Senthil Balaji case, then it was Ponmudi's case, or now Velu's case, people feel that there has to be something. And this DMK's, defense that it's a politics of vendetta. See, if it is politics of vendetta, but why is that they are coming to you?
yes,
Why these individual ministers, whom the public does not believe that they are honest, such honest people that Modi is after them?
yes,
And all these cases have been, whichever have been taken up, have followed months of investigation by income tax. Initially, it is, case of disproportionate income.
yeah,
Then followed by, then they discover, money trails leading to Benami properties, people holding Benami jewelry and cash. Then that is how the whole net has got wider. Then CBI has come in, enforcement directorates come in, and people are convinced
yeah,
that this whole thing that's going on at Senthil Balaji, he still remains a minister in judicial custody. The kind of defense being provided by Stalin and the first family. So Annamalai has had a good traction. Now,
yes,
coming to your specific question,
yes,
he was speaking in Sri Rangam,
mm,
where is the Ranganath Swami temple.
yeah,
What happened during during that period when Periyar's movement was at its peak,
yeah,
and subsequently the DK, the Dravida Kazhagam, which is Periyar's, which was the original organization, which
mm,
split and became DMK because
yes,
Annamalai and Karunanidhi could not accept Periyar, marrying somebody who was of his daughter's age,
yes,
and though when he was calling for social emancipation of women and things like that is how the thing they split.
yeah, mm,
And but definitely, in many places, deliberately, statues of Periyar was put up in many places outside big ancient temples,
yes,
outside Kanchi Mutt in
mm,
Kanchipuram.
mm,
And all these statues had a plague which said,
Yeah.
"He who believes in God is a fool. He who makes others is a thief." Basically, very derogatory of
Yeah. Yeah.
Hinduism, Hindu religious beliefs, Hindu gods.
Hmm.
So what Annamalai did was he was speaking at the very place where there is a similar statue with a similar plague.
Yeah.
So there, he said, "Look, this kind of thing we will remove. Statues which carry such kind of, stone inscriptions which make mockery of Hinduism will be removed."
Yes.
Now, he was very careful. He didn't say, "I will remove Periyar statue."
Yeah.
He only said, "I will remove those symbols of anti-Sanatananism, which is deliberately put outside temples,
Yes.
hurting the sentiments of devotees and faithfuls who go to the temple."
Yes.
So this is a of course, it requires a lot of courage to say this in Tamil Nadu,
Yes.
to say that, and already, Meenaji, Periyar, see, Periyar was a social reformer, no doubt. He
Yes.
spoke at a time when things were very bad, but he was not a lone social reformer.
Yes.
Subsequent to that, so many things happened. But Periyar's period also saw a lot of hate politics
Yes.
in the name of, they are speaking against the Brahminical practices.
Mm.
But many of it, in today's standard, would be considered extremely hateful.
Yeah.
And if you go by the Supreme Court standard set up in Nupur case,
Mm.
they would all warrant police registration of police cases. I don't think Periyar would have survived today if he were to make those speeches again. We
Yeah.
all know about the processions he used to lead,
Yeah.
where chappals were used to beat up, the photo of Lord Ram.
Yeah.
I don't
Mm.
think any Periyar could have dared to do it today if he was
Yeah.
alive. It is one thing to speak
Mm.
against caste atrocities, which none of
Yes.
us would support. But it is another thing to deliberately make mockery of Hindu gods. If you
Yes.
don't believe it, fine.
Yeah.
Agnosticism is not a problem.
Mm.
Atheism is not a problem. But to deliberately mock. So Annamalai is, courageous enough to speak out on this issue.
Yeah.
And he says that this whole thing is hollow. He
Yes.
says the so-called rational movement is hollow.
Yeah.
And and the fact that people are listening. One thing,
Yes.
Meenaji, despite Periyar movement, despite racial movement, DMK, DK, today, many family members of DMK leaders, why even DMK leaders are strong believers.
Yes.
Even
Yes.
Karunanidhi's family, we
Mm.
all know, earlier he used to wear that shawl which was black and red border.
Yes. Yeah.
And then he was advised by astrologers,
Mm.
which his family, whom family consulted, said, "Look, his Jupiter is weak. Therefore, he should wear yellow shawl." So he started wearing yellow shawls.
Yeah.
And we all know Durga Stalin is a devotee. She visits temples. At least Udayanidhi should have spoken to his mother
Yes.
about
Before.
what she thought of what he was saying.
Yes.
At the same time, Hinaji, I would like to add something.
Yeah.
December is a very important month in DMK because it is in December last year Udayanidhi Stalin became a cabinet minister.
Yes.
The come December, you
Mm.
are going to have a DMK
Mm.
youth conference. So there is a lot of speculation whether Stalin will reward Udayanidhi for all that controversies created and the focus on himself
Yeah.
with this Sanatan Dharma business,
Yes.
attacking Sanatan Dharma,
Mm.
whether he will be elevated as a number two in his government.
Mm.
Will he be made a deputy chief minister? Because there is pressure in the family, and Durga
Yeah.
Stalin doesn't want Stalin to delay this further. This is
Yeah.
what the bus in the DMK surface.
Yeah.
And there is a fear that if you do it after Lok Sabha elections,
Yeah.
there is a danger of DMK losing, and that will not be a good sign for anointment of Udayanidhi.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, we had to actually suffer Udaynidhi in the Tamil movies that he came in because he absolutely had no expression, nor could he act for nuts. He was foisted upon us.
But he is one man who produced his own films, acted in his own films, financed his own films, directed his own films.
This is
Of course,
just
there
like,
were directors' namesake.
yeah, like Pandit Nehru got all the awards himself. Yeah. Yeah. Back to you, Jaydev. About, I think we're moving on to Pakistan.
Yeah, actually, 2 days ago, one LET operative close to Masood Azhar was shot dead. But Pakistan is not making any, big deal out of it. What is the reason for this?
In fact, ever since we have heard of these killings, particularly of Pak terrorist leaders, who have been sheltered in that country. People are saying whether this is the handiwork of our external intelligence arm, research and analysis wing,
Yes.
and whether our Ajit Doval is the 007. So these killings are being, I mean, because Ajit Doval is known for he's a Kerala cadre IPS officer
Yes.
who has undertaken several intelligence operations. He
Yes.
served very briefly in Kerala.
Hmm.
Then he shifted to
Yeah.
intelligence bureau, where he served a long years, and he has handled Pakistan. He himself was posted in Pakistan, so he's considered an expert on,
Yes.
in breaking down the Pakistan intelligence apparatus, its terrorist network, and things like
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
Well, there is definitely from the government of India side, we have seen intensive drive to curb terrorism uh, wherever possible. But I
Yes.
do not see a hand of any Indian operations in Pakistan for
Yeah.
several reasons.
Hmm.
But what is happening is, I'm only recalling what Hillary Clinton said,
Yes.
told Pakistan when she was U.S. Secretary of State.
Hmm.
Look, if you are going to harbor snakes in your backyard, they would just trouble your neighbors.
Yes.
They will one day, when they can't get into the neighbor's house, they will turn inside
Uh,
only. And that is what is happening because these militant groups are into drug trafficking, and so there is a lot of gang war going on, Minaji,
yes.
and
Hmm.
we are seeing, because like last 3 months, three killings have happened. Well,
Yes.
Jaideep just mentioned this Rahim Ullah Tariq, who was
Yes.
just killed. Then before that, you had Khwaja Shaheed.
Yes.
Okay, then before that, you had uh, you know Lashkar-e Mohammad's group, the Agram Ghazi.
Yes.
Now, what I'm told, there is a lot of infighting going on
Hmm.
between these groups and also local gangs.
Yes.
There are local gangs, and they all fight over money,
Yeah.
and it could be fight over women also. You do not know,
Yes.
but
Yes.
so there is a lot of this thing going on, and also the fact that Pakistan is getting tough with Afghans now.
Yeah.
Many of the undocumented Afghans have been told to leave the country.
Hmm.
And recently, Miraji, you had mentioned about an Air Force training base being attacked.
Yes. Yes.
A new group called Tehreek-e-Jihad of Pakistan claimed responsibility.
Yes. Yes.
So there are terrorist groups, and the
Within.
Pakistan's worry is whether some of these groups have allegiance to Taliban.
Yeah.
But whole thing, there seems to be a fight for spoils, fight for
Yes.
money, and Pakistan is undergoing terrible inner turmoil.
Yes.
And so much so, the so-called, the state actors. I mean, probably they are not getting the money the mullah from where they should get. So they are turning to each other. A similar thing is happening in Canada.
Yes.
Where
I was
the
just going to say
same
that.
thing is
Yeah. Yes.
same thing is happening in Canada. You had
Yeah.
first the Nijar's killing, which
Yeah.
Canadian Prime Minister thought was the handiwork of our intelligence agents.
Yeah.
Then subsequently, you had two more killings. You have had Harpreet Singh Uppal. Then you had one Parmir Chail. Now
Yes.
there are three gangs operating in Canada.
Mm.
These
Mm.
gangs which are into human trafficking, drug
Yeah.
trafficking, and even
Mm.
gun running.
Yes.
And they have their networks in Punjab also, where they indulge
Yes.
in extort from businessmen. Now,
Yes.
I am told there are three groups, and this is called the BC Gang. I mean,
Oh.
British Columbia, they operate in
Yes.
Vancouver and Toronto.
Yeah.
And you have groups like Red Scorpion. I mean, and then you have gangs like one group is called Brothers Keepers,
Oh. Mm.
another is called, for whatever reason, United Nations. Now, these gangs, they are fighting each other,
United Nations
fighting
of
for,
War.
I don't know, they are called United Nations.
Yeah.
One gang is called United Nations.
Yeah.
Another is called Red Scorpion Khan.
Mm.
I mean, and these are into big money.
Yes.
And where big money and trafficking gun deals are involved, there
Mm.
will be fight over spoils, the
Yes.
fight over sharing of the booty. And this
Yes.
is what is happening. And unfortunately, Canadian government has turned a blind eye.
Mm.
Canadian authorities have been turned a blind eye, and they are looking at factors which are not at all connected,
Yeah.
and they have allowed these Khalistani extremists, and these groups use Khalistan as a kind of a facade, and
Yes.
they indulge in all kinds of
Crime.
extortion, even in
Yes.
Canada. It's
Yes.
high time authorities in Canada launch a crackdown in Canada,
Yes.
because these groups cannot operate in Punjab easily anymore.
Yes. But then they need a strong leader, which they don't have.
Yeah, exactly. And today the issue of Khalistan doesn't have traction in Punjab.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Moving on to this meeting between Foreign Minister and Defense Minister of India and USA. Is there anything brewing with Jaishankar on a 5-day visit to UK? It's a long meeting, I would say, and anything brewing there in terms of Ukraine or Israel war? The civil war in Myanmar between two factions of army is a worrying factor for India, I suppose. We have a working relationship with the present Janta through, though we have not recognized them. Can you throw some light on what's happening there and India's concern on regarding this?
Meeraji, India has been closely in consultation with the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, all the Western G7 countries with regards to what has happened in the Middle East after the October 7th Hamas attack on
Yes.
Israel. Earlier, we our engagements were in relation to the Ukraine war, where we were seen as somebody who could carry messages to Russia as well as
Yes.
to Ukraine. And India was closely involved in trying to work out a ceasefire plan also.
Yes.
If you recall, during the run up to the G20 summit,
Yes.
and also when you had Shanghai Cooperation meeting in South Africa and Bali also, there was the ASEAN summit in Bali. So we saw that India was actively involved and rather is actively involved. The meetings, what is called the 2+2 dialogue. That
Yes.
is, the defense ministers and the foreign ministers of both countries are meeting at regular interval to
Yes.
take forward the agreements that were reached during Prime Minister Modi's visit to the United States.
Yes.
And subsequently, those discussions were carried forward when Prime Minister Modi and President Biden had bilateral on the
Yes.
sidelines of G20 summit in Delhi. And now the latest meeting, when
Yes.
you had the US Defense Secretary Austin and the US Secretary of State Blinken,
Yes.
when they were in Delhi just a few days ago. Now, definitely the West Asia is engaging our attention. Now, India and these countries are agreed that the civilian suffering in West Asia must somehow be cut down to the extent possible.
Yes.
Particularly the Palestinians, the innocent Palestinians were suffering. But at the
Yes.
same time, India is in full agreement with America, UK, and others that
Yes.
Israel has full right to defend itself,
Yes.
and it has all the right to dismantle the Hamas infrastructure,
Mm.
because we also appreciate that Israel cannot seize these operations without completely liquidating the Hamas leadership and the rank and
Yes.
file.
Mm.
It's very unfortunate that the Gaza hospital, Al Shifa hospital, has
Yes.
been used as a kind of a, you know, the facade under which, literally under which you had the tunnels
Mm.
where the Hamas was operating and has been operating.
Mm.
Now, if the hospital, of course, they have so far not actually bombed the hospital, but in and
Yes.
around, you have seen the military operations. And the hospital, I mean, if you have a hospital and you have militants around, and if there is an operation, that is definitely going to affect. So the
Yeah.
pictures that we see of Palestinian people fleeing, or in
Yes.
children killed, injured, women, and when you see those pictures, it does cause a lot of concern.
Yes.
India
Yes.
has been speaking about it. In fact, in only one motion that
Yes.
was brought before UN Security Council that did not condemn Hamas,
Yes.
India abstained.
Yes.
Otherwise, India has been speaking
Mm.
for minimizing the civilian casualties in Palestine,
Yeah.
particularly in Gaza. So
Yeah.
these engagements that you are seeing now,
Mm.
there is other problem which is happening. This is an election year in America,
Yes.
and UK could soon be having elections also next
Yes.
year
Mm.
probably. Now, what you are seeing is these pro-Palestinian voices, which have now got converted into pro-Hamas voices,
Yes.
they are out on the streets.
Yes.
And you saw US, I mean, in US also there is a lot of demonstration taking place in major cities,
Yes.
and Donald Trump, who is a very very serious contender,
Yes.
he has been speaking on these issues, and he is already promising what he would do if he were to return as president.
Yes.
How he would deal with this
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Similarly, in Britain, within the Conservative Party,
Mm.
there are hardliners who feel that even the Conservative Party has failed.
Yeah.
They have allowed these. pro-terrorist elements to gain strength in the
Yeah.
name of speaking for Palestinian suffering.
Mm.
And that is what was on our the minds of this your the Home Secretary who had to be removed.
Yes. Yes.
So you can see the fallouts in these, and same things happen in Europe.
Yes.
These liberal countries, liberal democracies are today realizing that they have right now the problem on their land itself,
Yeah.
where in the name of human rights they allow demonstrations, they are seeing violence.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a difficult time for them.
Mm.
And at the same time, a quick ceasefire or cessation of violence in Gaza is not possible immediately
Yeah.
until
Mm.
Israel is fully satisfied
Mm.
that all the entire Hamas leadership has been liquidated. So these discussions, which is taking place, in which India is involved with Jaishankar meeting the new UK Foreign Secretary, who happens to be the former Prime Minister David Cameron.
Yes.
So you can see how these countries are suddenly, Miraji, after October 7, things
Yeah.
have changed so rapidly.
Yeah.
And it has changed the politics also. In India
Yes.
too, what you are now seeing is people are itching to organize demonstration in support of Hamas
Yeah.
in the name of supporting Palestinians and highlighting this problem.
Yeah.
Parties like Welfare Party of India. In Kerala, you saw how left parties also joined, and some Congress leaders also joined,
Yeah.
and they got a Hamas leader to address them virtually. So and that is also having consequences, because
Yes. Mm.
though when you say you are, because you are trying to justify a mass attack, there is
Yeah.
a counter mood in particularly in northern parts of the
Yes.
country,
Yes.
where where they are feeling, look, these are this shows us, this is showing mirror to us what is
Yes. What can happen to
happening in
us? Yes.
Palestine and whatever is
Absolutely.
happening in the world
Yeah.
capital.
Yeah.
And similar things should not happen in India,
Yeah. Also,
because nobody is asking one question, Meenaji.
yes. Yes.
If if the concern of Palestine, innocent Palestinian women, children, men, if that was the real core issue, who asked Hamas to launch those 3,000
Yes.
rockets into Israel?
Exactly. Exactly.
And any terrorist organization, Minaji,
Yeah.
is so filled with its objective of reaching its goal, finally
Mm.
gets itself exterminated, in the
Yeah.
process causing suffering. A good
Mm.
example is the LTT in Sri Lanka.
Yes.
You see, the struggle had a purpose. But
Mm.
at a time when there could have been a negotiated settlement,
Mm.
LTT went back
Yes.
and saying, either the full thing or nothing, either full
Yes.
illam or no illam.
Yes.
You give us illam or we won't. Yeah. And finally, what happened? They
Mm.
also used women and children as shield.
Yes.
Liberation Tigers also used them. And
Yeah.
finally, see the Western countries as well as India.
Yeah.
No matter how much we felt for discrimination of Tamils,
Yeah.
particularly in northern Sri Lanka,
Mm.
ultimately when it came to liquidating terrorism and the suffering that could be caused to many innocent people, we
Yes.
had to be on the side of war against terrorism.
Yes.
And good case is Sri Lanka. And
Yes.
similarly, I cannot see how can there be a peace deal between Hamas and Israel, particularly after October 7th.
Yeah.
See, when Hamas was allowed to govern Gaza, they did not hold elections, but they were making money because Palestinians had work permits to go and work in Israel.
Yes.
Well, they could have negotiated. Of course, they can say that with the Netanyahu back in power in Israel, there was not a leadership that could have listened. But
Yes.
definitely, there were voices within Israel which want a settlement, a
Yeah.
political settlement,
Yeah.
where which basically what we have said, the two-state solution. There would be a Palestinian state, full-fledged Palestinian state, as well as a full-fledged Israel. I mean, Israel
Yeah.
is there
Mm.
already,
Mm.
but Israel that feels secure,
Yeah.
and because that is going to be the way forward. But that
Yes.
cannot be way forward because there are other actors. You
Yes.
have actors like Iran, which is
Mm.
worried that if there is peace between Israel and other Arab countries, as was happening after the Abraham Accord, because UAE and Israel relationship had improved, they had established relations. Saudi Arabia was about to do it. So this October 7th attack, and if President Biden himself said that this attack had something to do with the launching of India, Middle East, Europe corridor,
Yes.
which was announced on the sidelines of G20 summit.
Yeah.
So there are, several dimensions to this issue. So
Yes.
therefore, what we are seeing is a very unfortunate phase. But then things will have to go to a point where I don't think any amount of persuasion will ensure that either side gives up violence at this stage.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Shekharji.
I
Yeah,
would like to
Jaideep,
ask
you.
one question for Shekharji is, regarding Dawood Ibrahim, right? The NIA said that he's living in Karachi, according to NIA report. And what do you think? Is he still alive, or is the D company still active in some form or the other, or how is it?
Well, I do not think the D company is so active. There are other offshoots, but it is not that old D gang.
Yes.
Definitely, number one. Number two, I am told Dawood Ibrahim is very sick
Mm.
and he has kidney issues. And there was a time, probably 10 years ago or maybe even 15 years ago, he had sent signals that he wished to surrender.
Mm.
And probably that was the time when the ISI got him shifted from Dubai to Pakistan.
Yes.
And ISI will never allow Dawood Ibrahim to leave. They will never allow him to leave Pakistan.
Yes.
So I think, yeah, he does
Because
misses.
he's their trump card.
Yeah, he misses
Mm.
Konkan. I mean, he misses his home in Konkan.
Mm.
He belongs to Konkan after all.
Yes.
So therefore, you can see that this is a very, very difficult time, and maybe he will have to rest in peace in Pakistan.
Yeah. Thank you, Shekharji, for a wonderful session. I think you've encapsulated all the news that's coming in today, now in a brilliant way. And thank you so much. Good night, and Jai Hind from Jai David.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Minaji, and thank you, Jaydev.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Shekharji.
Thank you.